warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, brothers and sisters. In this video lecture, I'm going to go through some data quality dimensions prior to do the demonstrations on how to assess data quality using one of the tools. The tools is already been provided in iTalim, so please visit iTalim and download the tools. And then once you have watched this first half of the videos in which we're going to cover the dimensions extensively, then only we can proceed with the demo part. Okay, so I believe in the last class I have covered extensively on the reasoning why we should do data quality assessment in the first place prior to do any business data analytics, and I have also covered extensively the impact of not conducting any proper data quality assessment prior to your analytics. So what are the things that needs to be assessed in this data quality? So there are a number of dimensions covered in the book, so I will cover some of that. I know different books might have a different definitions of what are the dimensions that should be assessed, but what I'm going to cover today is sort of summarized from some of these references that I've given you in the first class. So this perhaps can give you some ideas on what to look for in your data quality assessment. The first one would be the data specifications. Okay, so in these data specifications, what we want to look at is the completeness, the quality and documentations of data standards. So when you look at a set of data, is there any data standards that you can actually refer to, or data models that you can actually go through to make sure that the data specifications is actually being followed? And the next one is the data integrity fundamentals, in which a measure of existence, validity, structure, content. So it's more to whether all those values that you actually captured in the database or in the data sets is actually valid, and it does adhere to the structure and basic characteristics of the data. And also you would want to assess whether your data sets suffers from any duplication. So in this case, what we want to see is by having the duplications is assessment is to measure the unwanted duplications which exist within or across system for particular field or record or data set. Okay, so I think we've discussed about this and the duplications. We don't want to assume that all of the values are unique unless you have done and you have thoroughly checked that duplication doesn't exist in your data set. The next one is accuracy. In this accuracy, what we are trying to do is it's actually a measure of correctness of the content of the data, which requires an authoritative source of reference to be identified and accessible. So for you to know whether your data is accurate, you need to have some kind of benchmark, and this benchmark it is not allowed to be subjective. It has to be a proper documentation provided to actually show that yes, your data is accurate to reflect what is supposed to be recorded. Then the next one is consistency and synchronizations, which means that it is a measure of equivalence of information stored or used in various data store. Okay, so it's consistent across system or within system. Okay, and timeliness, your data is available when it's needed. So by using the timeliness and availability, we're actually trying to measure the degree to which data are current and available for use. And also the ease of use and maintainability, which is a measure of the degree to which data can be accessed and used. Okay, and data coverage, okay, a measure of the availability of comprehensiveness. So it is not only the data is available, but is it comprehensive? Okay, and also the quality. So I didn't actually put it in bold because it may be subjective at times, but it does provide some kind of quality, especially for the user. When you present the data properly, the user might use it it's easier for them to use it if the presentation's quality is good. Okay, so that is something that you can also assess, and perceptions, relevance, and trust. So it means how reliable the data is. Data decay is actually a measure of the rate of negative change to the data. So is there any chance that there are some data that might probably have been changed or misinterpreted or was not entered correctly because the user didn't understand the actual information that or the actual data that they're supposed to supply. Okay, and the last one is transactability, which is a measure of the degree to which data will produce the desired business transactions or outcome. Okay, so I think it's self-explanatory. So given all these 12 dimensions, as I said earlier, it just gives you some ideas on what to look for in on the tools that I'm going to provide now. And of course, it is not a must that you have to identify all of them, because different datasets might suffer from different things. But the most important is focus on what really need to be addressed from the query perspective or from the questions of the analytics perspective. Then you would be able to sense which part of the dimensions that I've covered just now you should focus the most. Okay, so let's proceed now to the demo session. Okay, so if you've gone to if you've logged into iTalim and then you've visited my Info 4103 course website, you would be able to see there's a link for data quality tools. If you click that link, it should go to this page, the Dropbox page. So what I need you to do is just to direct download, okay, and then we'll follow it from there. Okay, so once you have run and mounted the data cleaner software, so you would have this. Okay, so I would suggest that you run either one. I think both are okay. So usually I would run the console, so it's easier for me to monitor what's actually happening during the installation. But once you have it run, then it should be all okay. Okay, so just make sure you run one of the XE there. Okay, so once you've run the data cleaner software, this will be the welcome page. Okay, so we can actually proceed to build new job. And when you actually click on build new job, you actually been given 3 sample data sets, and I'm very sure these 3 data sets is sufficient for you to actually learn how to go through some of those dimensions that I've gone through just now. Okay, for this demo I'm going to use the customer CSV. Later on for your exercise, you're going to have to run my datasets, and I want you to assess my datasets. For that, I need you to drop the file here to the space provided, or otherwise you can actually browse through the files that you have in your computers, which I'm going to provide that, and then you do the same assessments as I have here, or you can even look further beyond what I'm going to demonstrate now. Okay, so this is our data sets. For this demo, what I want to show you is that in my data sets I have a couple of attributes, and in these attributes there are some issues which I have to identify, as I've mentioned just now. If you want to have a look what is the data sets that you have and the kind of data that you have at the moment, you can actually preview the tables. Okay, so these are the list of data that you have. It is we do have quite a lot of data in this sample database. So I think if I'm not mistaken, about 5,000 rows. Okay, so there are a lot of data. Okay, and there are ways to actually assess your data, so you can actually transform or improve or analyze. But one of the things that I'm going to show you is the use of some of these features. For example, if I want to find out whether my data is comprehensive or is complete, so I can use a complete analyzer. Okay, so link to the data. Okay, so it will give you this page. Okay, it will give you this pop-up window, and then you can actually assess. Say the query is to find out whether we can actually send out all of our marketing leaflets to our customer. So perhaps what I need to know is I just need to make sure that all these informations regarding the address are complete. Okay, otherwise if the address is not complete, then we will not be able to send out our leaflets or mailers. Okay, so in this case I need to make sure all these informations are complete. So these are the list of columns that I want to assess on the completeness. So once you've actually list or filter out the attributes that you don't need, then you can actually execute. So this execute is actually here on the top right corner. Okay, and then it will come up with this page. Okay, so these are 79 records that the address is not complete. So it gives you, out of that 5,000, you have a problem with a number of records in which the address are not complete, which means you might have problems sending out your mailers, and also some of the names which is not complete. Okay, so these are issues that we have to address prior to sending out our marketing mailers. Okay, our marketing leaflets. Okay, so as you can see, you can actually write down. So from here you can actually write down reports saying that your datasets is suffer from a lot of missing values on the address, in which it will inhibit you to perform any marketing approach through post. Okay, so via any mailing postage. Okay, so that's for one. And we can also assess the unique key just to make sure is there any redundancy or duplications. Okay, so I can link to, and this is for the unique key. Okay, so what would you want to have as the unique key? So for the unique key analyzer, you have to pick one of the attribute as the unique key, and once you have that, then we execute. Okay, so this is for the completeness analyzer. Now we have less values being filtered out. Okay, and this is for the unique key. So out of 5,000 rows, 5,115, we have 15 records that is duplicate. Okay, which means somehow when probably during the migrations of the data, some of these 15 records was entered twice. Okay, so this is one of the issues that we can actually address in the duplications dimension. Okay, right, so another one is perhaps you can also do a pattern finder. So in this pattern finder, as you can see there, it actually will inspect your string values and generate and match string patterns that suits your data. So you can actually see any string pattern. So in here, let me just close the other one because we've already defined that. So in here we can actually check the column that you want to see the pattern on. Okay, so perhaps I just want to have a look on some of this. I'm not really going to check the address, the pattern on the address. Okay, and again, this is the result page. Okay, so in here there are some pattern. Okay, so the ID, okay, so as you can see in here, it actually shows the pattern just in case there are issues with your data. So for example, here we have names. Okay, so we have issues on the names in which the pattern of the name is being given as this. Okay, so it means we have some names which is not available, or maybe we need to fix, for example, this. So it actually shows you there are some pattern which you have to be careful of. It means your data might suffer from data quality issues on accuracy in the name of the company or the name of the person. Okay, another one that I want to check is the values of the gender. Okay, so just in case we have any unexpected values, so I'm going to see whether all the values match to what is the gender values should be. So here is my pop-up window, and I'm going to see whether my values on the gender column do match what it's supposed to be recorded. Okay, so I have said that the gender value is supposed to be male or female, which is denoted by M or F, and let's see how it goes. Okay, so this is the result of the value match. Okay, so as you can see in here, yes, we do have a lot of values that comply, but unfortunately there are some unexpected values, so which means 510 out of 5,000 records that we have, the gender values doesn't match to the expected values that we would need to be recorded. Okay, so in this case, these are the summary of what data quality dimensions that I have assessed just now. Okay, so we've assessed the duplications, we've assessed the completeness, we've assessed the validity. Okay, and from here I have shown you some basic ideas on what to look for again in data quality assessment, and I hope when you've seen my data sets, I really hope that you would be able to do similar assessment to what I have done, or I would even more appreciate if you can do beyond that. All right, so I wish you good luck, and feel free to contact me should you have any information, should you have any inquiries on further information that I have demonstrated in this video lecture. Okay, so take care. Assalamualaikum.